If you're hooked on Marvel Cosmic Invasion, I already know exactly what grabbed you. That feeling of jumping into a satisfying brawl, with charismatic characters, screen-filling moves, co-op that turns into organized chaos, and that rhythm that makes you say, just one more level, until you realize hours have passed. But here's the good news. That energy wasn't born in just one game. There's an entire list of titles that deliver the same vibe, whether it's through old-school beat-em-ups, cooperative action, arcade style, or that perfect mix of combos and progression that keeps you glued to the screen. So settle in, because I'm about to show you 10 incredible games you need to play if Marvel Cosmic Invasion hooked you. And fair warning, there are classics, underrated gems, and games that will make you feel that exact euphoria of clearing the screen with a perfectly timed special. I'm Matthew, and the video starts now. If you enjoyed Marvel Cosmic Invasion and want another arcade brawler with comic book energy, The Punisher is a mandatory recommendation. And the best part is that it's included in the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. It started as a 1993 beat-em-up, developed and released by Capcom for arcades, with a very direct, no-nonsense approach. The premise is simple in all the right ways. You play as the Punisher, Frank Castle, and in co-op, the second player can join as Nick Fury to hunt down the Kingpin's organization. The game throws you into urban settings, including the streets of New York and an illegal casino right at the start, and escalates the chaos until it becomes a total cleanup of the underworld. In practice, it follows the classic Capcom side-scrolling beat-em-up school, a style they had already refined in games like Final Fight, with screen-by-screen progression and bosses setting the pace. The difference here is that the brawling comes with a massive arsenal of usable weapons, which completely changes the cadence of the fights and makes everything more aggressive and dynamic. What always gets me is how the game embraces a comic book presentation while simultaneously refusing to soften the character's vigilante side. There are even moments where the Punisher interrogates an enemy for information and then finishes them off in the most Punisher way possible. It's gritty, but that's exactly what gives the game its identity, and there's an extra reason to check it out now. In this collection, the Punisher stands out as a rare beat-em-up among fighting game giants, and Capcom itself treats its inclusion as a highlight of the package. Plus, the collection is presented as bringing an arcade-faithful port of the Punisher to consoles, alongside the Marvel Capcom classics everyone expects. My suggestion is to play it like a real arcade session. Call someone for co-op and coordinate who clears which side of the screen to feel the flow of the game. If you liked the team versus army appeal of Marvel Cosmic Invasion, you'll find a rawer, more grounded version of that fantasy here, but with that signature Capcom seasoning of rhythm, impact, and screen readability. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is that modern beat-em-up with an arcade soul that anyone who went crazy for Marvel Cosmic Invasion needs to put on their list. It takes classic brawling and gives it a delicious polish without losing that enter the stage and don't stop spirit. Personally, it's one of those games where within 5 minutes, I'm already thinking, okay, I'll just finish one more level. And suddenly, the whole night is gone. The story is simple and works exactly because it doesn't try to be more than it needs to be. Bebop and Rocksteady rob Channel 6 and steal equipment to support Krang and Shredder's plan, and the Turtles jump into action to stop the chaos. This kind of direct start is perfect for a beat-em-up because it gives you a clear reason to throw hands without needing long explanations. In terms of game feel, it takes you through iconic TMNT locations, from Manhattan to Coney Island, across rooftops and through sewers. pushing the adventure all the way to Dimension X. The pixel art visual is intentionally nostalgic, leaning hard into the vintage identity inspired by the 1987 animated series, making it feel like you've stepped inside an episode. Regarding gameplay, the game promises an old-school feel with updated mechanics and action-packed combat featuring flashy combos and ninja abilities. Each turtle has their own skills and moves, which significantly changes how you play. I always find it fun to test each one and see which fits my rhythm. And here's the kicker for those who like playing in a group. You can face the game alone or in co-op, with up to 6 players at the same time, which is when the screen turns into an organized carnival of punches and laughter. Additionally, there's a dash of progression. You earn points, level up, and unlock new techniques, which makes you want to replay levels just to build your character the way you like. The game also places extra challenges in the levels, like specific completion conditions, and even has NPCs asking for collectibles, which makes you pay attention to the environment instead of just pressing forward the whole time. For me, it's exactly this combo of fast pacing, retro identity, and chaotic co-op that makes Shredder's Revenge the perfect recommendation for when someone finishes Marvel Cosmic Invasion and gets that "I need another good beat 'em up right now" itch. Streets of Rage 4 is the kind of beat 'em up you recommend instantly to anyone still thirsty for more team brawling, because it is literally the modern comeback of a classic series. Released as a sequel to the original trilogy, it was developed by Dotemu, along with Lizard Cube and Guard Crush Games, and published by Dotemu itself. To me, it has that rare game magic where you start just to test it out, and before you know it, you're in serious mode, trying to play clean and stylish. The first impact is visual. Hand-drawn animations that give every hit a satisfying weight without losing clear arcade readability. The soundtrack also helps keep the adrenaline high, featuring brand new tracks by a team of legendary composers that put you right in the rhythm to advance one more screen and clear the street. In terms of gameplay, it takes the series' classic foundation and improves it with new mechanics, so the feeling is familiar, but with much more room to create. Combos. There are details that change everything in the flow, like being able to throw items and even catch them back while they're still in the air. Or situations where the enemy bounces off the wall, the edge of the screen, and you continue the sequence if you have the timing. The roster is also part of the addiction, because the characters truly play differently, which forces replayability in the best way possible. You have faster, more mobile characters like Cherry, others with unique dodge options like Adam, and those with brutal reach and grapples like Floyd, so you can always find a style that fits your mood that day. The structure is very direct and efficient, with 12 unique levels that pull you forward without much filler. And when you want to extend the fun, there are modes that celebrate the genre, like Arcade Mode, Battle Mode for versus fighting, and even Boss Rush to face the gallery of bosses in sequence. Co-op is where it becomes an event. You can play online with a friend, or gather up to 4 players offline, which is when the screen becomes the kind of controlled chaos a good beat-em-up demands. If you loved Marvel Cosmic Invasion for the collective fight atmosphere and stage-by-stage progression, Streets of Rage 4 is one of those choices that deliver the same energy, just with a grittier street vibe that is incredibly addictive. If you want another beat 'em up with let's clear the whole screen energy, River City Girls 2 is a solid choice because it keeps the combat fluid and full of attitude, but with an urban adventure vibe and its own personality. To me, it's one of those games you play with a smile on your face because it has zero shame about being over the top and stylish. What stands out most is how River City Girls 2 doesn't stay stuck in linear levels all the time. It bets on a more non-linear structure and lets you explore a larger river city with more places, routes, and even secret areas to discover. The day and night cycle helps give you the feeling that you're actually living in that chaos, not just passing through it. The playable cast is a blast, and the game clearly prioritizes variety. There are 6 characters with their own styles, including Misako, Kyoko, Kunio, Riki, and newcomers Marion and Provi. I like this because when one character starts to feel automatic, you can switch, and the game feels different instantly. In combat, it encourages you to play with the system. There are guard breaks, launch combos to keep enemies in the air, tag team maneuvers, and other techniques that make the fights more expressive than just button mashing. Since there's also progression, leveling up to gain new moves, the game gives you that satisfying feeling of, I'm getting stronger and more stylish with every session. Another detail I find addictive is the idea of building your team with extra help. You can recruit defeated enemies and even hire heavy hitters as assists, keeping 2 recruits at a time. And, as a true beat 'em up should be, it supports local co-op, including up to 4 players on the same console, so you can turn any night into a session of organized mess. To top it off, the presentation package is top tier. It features an anime opening, comic book style cutscenes, English and Japanese voice acting, and a soundtrack by composer Megan McDuffie. That's why, in my mind, it speaks directly to those who loved Marvel Cosmic Invasion. It's brawling, charisma, and color, but with a street RPG seasoning and much more room to invent combos and mess around with friends.
Yeah, don't ask questions, shut your lid. I need to run away from this and go get off the grid. Feel like my brain is overloaded, man, I'm losing it. Don't let them tell you what to do, man, they don't know shit.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Cowabunga Collection is a direct portal to the turtle beat-em-ups that shaped much of what we call arcade brawling today, which is why those who loved Marvel Cosmic Invasion tend to feel right at home. For me, it's the kind of collection you open just to test one, and before you know it, you're switching between versions and eras to compare the rhythm of each game. The package gathers 13 classic Konami games and was released in 2022 with the clear goal of preserving these adventures exactly as they were, but with modern comforts. These games lean heavily into the aesthetic and vibe of the 80s comics and cartoons, with stages that travel through New York, sewers, futuristic bases, and even time travel, meaning the kind of variety that makes a marathon worth it. What's most impressive is the size and curation. It includes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time Arcade, which are basically the heart of the arcade dream. It also features NES titles like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, TMNT 2 the arcade game, TMNT 3 the Manhattan Project, and Tournament Fighters, showing how the series changed its approach depending on the platform. The collection doesn't just stick to the obvious. It includes SNES games, TMNT 4, Turtles in Time, and Tournament Fighters, and Genesis titles, the Hyperstone Heist and Tournament Fighters. And it even has the Game Boy trio, Fall of the Foot Clan, Back from the Sewers, and Radical Rescue, which is perfect for anyone who likes seeing how the genre adapted to more limited hardware. On the playing today without suffering side, it comes with a strong list of quality of life features. Save anywhere, rewind, button remapping, and even various Japanese regional versions. Additionally, online play has been added for certain titles along with local co-op, which is precisely where the beat-em-up magic turns into a party with friends. And there's a bonus I really value in collections: behind-the-scenes extras and historical material, like development art, sketches, and media content related to the turtles. Ultimately, the Cowabunga collection works as the ultimate sandbox for retro brawling fans. You choose if you want a quick arcade fight, a longer console campaign, or a handheld curiosity, all in the same package.
To the face, I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me?
The Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle is that collection every arcade brawling fan should have on their shelf. It brings together 7 Capcom classics, all with local and online multiplayer options, and adds modern features that make them easier to access and enjoy without losing the retro essence. The included games are Final Fight, Captain Commando, The King of Dragons, Knights of the Round, Warriors of Fate, Armored Warriors, and Battle Circuit, and each one delivers a different vibe within the genre. Final Fight is the most famous, with urban action and memorable characters, while Captain Commando takes the brawl to the future, with transformation mechanics and even a baby robot on the team. The collection also embraces medieval fantasy worlds in The King of Dragons and Knights of the Round, where you fight dragons, ogres, and knights, while Warriors of Fate draws from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms story, featuring more strategic gameplay and more weapons to use. Meanwhile, Armored Warriors and Battle Circuit are less known, but deliver unique experiences. In the former, you control heavy mechs, and in the latter, the action turns into a space race with customization mechanics. Playing each of these titles is like going back to the arcade, but with the comfort of being able to save, adjust difficulty, and play the English or Japanese versions. And of course, the big highlight is the multiplayer. You can invite up to 4 friends to play locally or online, turning any session into a festival of combos and laughter. Additionally, the bundle features art galleries and extras showing the development of the games, which is great for those who like to know a bit of the history behind the classics. Since it was released on multiple platforms, you can play it on PC, Switch, PlayStation, or Xbox without losing any of the original experience. If you enjoyed the energy of Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle is like a second act of classic brawling, but with more variety, more history, and the chance to set up your own arcade team at home. It's the kind of collection you open, play a bit of each game, and end up spending hours on without realizing it. Double Dragon Gaiden: Rise of the Dragons is a beat 'em up with roguelite elements that swaps the straight campaign for a structure of missions chosen in any order, making it fit like a glove for those who finished Marvel Cosmic Invasion, wanting more replayability and co-op. What really grabs you here is the feeling of always building a new run, in that way that makes you want to say, just one more. The big signature of Gaiden is the tag team system. You choose 2 fighters and can switch between them mid-fight, opening up space for very different combos and strategies. In practice, I play it like I'm building a cartoon duo, one character for crowd control and another to blow up the boss. This tag isn't just an aesthetic swap, it consumes the SP meter, which is also used for specials, so every switch becomes a risk and reward decision. I like it because it adds a bit of cleverness to the combat. It's not just about hitting, it's about managing the right moment to spend resources. The game also plays with a dynamic mission selection, where the order you choose affects the duration, number of enemies, and difficulty, almost like a Mega Man of beat-em-ups. This hooks me because it gives that satisfaction of planning. I'll take this area now so I don't suffer later. In terms of content, it starts with Billy, Jimmy, Marion, and Uncle Mayton, and unlocks a large cast of characters along the way. The official description highlights at least 13 playable characters. The most fun part is when you discover a duo that makes sense, and you stick with them until you master the game's rhythm. Overall, the combat execution is very accessible. Simple combos and specials via direction plus button. But the depth appears when you understand how the two halves of the team complement each other and how to choose buffs at the end of each mission. If Marvel Cosmic Invasion won you over with its team brawl energy, the difference here is that the game pulls you in through experimentation. Every run becomes an excuse to test one more combination and leave the stage feeling like you played better than the last time. Fight and Rage is a side-scrolling beat-em-up that is new with an old soul. It's clearly inspired by the classics of the genre's golden age, so you can expect fast brawling, screen readability, and that arcade pace that doesn't let you breathe. The premise is direct and feels like an adult cartoon. In a distant future, humans have been enslaved by mutants, and the story revolves around two humans and a rebel mutant trying to stop the madness. I like this kind of context because it justifies the genre's cartoonish violence without apologizing for being a hardcore video game. In combat, the game bets on an explosive combo system and even includes a parry system, which completely changes the feeling of mastery once you learn the timing. There are also different weapons to vary the flow, so the brawling never feels flat. One thing that makes it last is that there are different paths and different endings, so finishing it once rarely feels like the end of the goal line. For me, this kind of structure is what turns a good beat 'em up into an addiction. You always have a reason to go back and try to do better. And if the idea is to play in a group, it offers local co-op for up to 3 players, and even allows optional friendly fire, which can turn into either chaos or strategy, depending on your crew. Additionally, there's a versus mode, 1v1 against another player or CPU, and even an option to watch CPU versus CPU, which is a curious extra for those who like to play with the system. It's packed with unlockables, costumes, modes, and even playable enemies, and has heavy additional challenges for those who really want to test themselves. Reviews usually highlight exactly this package: satisfying combat, plus beautiful pixel art, plus strong soundtrack, which is the triad that, in my opinion, sustains a beat 'em up for years. Mayhem Brawler is that beat 'em up that pulls me into its urban fantasy universe in the very first minutes. It mixes superpowers, supernatural creatures, and even vampires into a story where you play as a trio of superpowered police officers facing threats larger than street gangs. It's like a 90s arcade game got an update full of color and madness. The game takes place in a comic book inspired world with comic style art, frame by frame animations, and a soundtrack that delivers non-stop action. What hooks me most is the freedom of choice. After each stage, you decide which objective to follow, which changes the story route and even the ending you reach, giving it a touch of RPG and replayability. You control 3 main characters, Star, Trouble, and Dolphin, each with their own style. Star is fast and focused on crowd control. Trouble is the direct and aggressive cop, and Dolphin is the group's powerhouse, great for breaking everything. I like switching between them to see how. Each one changes the experience. It's like assembling your own 90s cartoon team. Combat is direct and satisfying, with simple combos, specials, and even varied weapons to use, from katanas to submachine guns. The system isn't the deepest in the genre, but it delivers the sense of impact and fluidity that every good beat-em-up needs. There's even an arcade mode for those who want the pure challenge without continues. The game also offers local co-op for up to 3 players, turning any session into a party of punches and laughs. Additionally, it has 7 main stages, each with unique bosses and detailed environments, ranging from ghettos to sewers and secret labs. Overall, Mayhem Brawler is one of those games you start just to see, and end up spending hours testing routes, endings, and combos. If Marvel Cosmic Invasion caught you with its team energy and stylish brawling, this game will give you that same feeling, but with its own universe full of creatures, decisions, and lots of group fun.
They keep coming!
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, Complete Edition, is a 2D beat-em-up with an arcade feel that mixes retro brawling with video games inside a video game. And this really appeals to those who like Marvel Cosmic Invasion for its screen-clearing co-op energy. To me, it has that rare charm of a game that looks simple in the first stage, but pulls you into an addiction when you realize you're actually getting stronger. The foundation is very satisfying. Each character has their own set of moves, and you expand your moveset as you gain experience, giving a real sense of evolution. Since you can also use weapons, the game becomes the best kind of controlled mess. Every fight can end differently depending on what you picked up along the way. The progression loop is one of the reasons I always come back. Defeating enemies earns you coins, which you spend in shops to buy items that restore health or boost stats. There's even a to-go item that stays in your inventory too. Be used automatically when you run out of health. The kind of detail that saves a run and makes the game less cruel when the screen gets crowded. And yes, it shines when it becomes a party. You can play the campaign alone or in co-op, local online depending on the version. And during co-op, you can revive allies by spending money, share money or health, and even perform a combined taunt to unleash a joint attack. This kind of mechanic is what makes me look at a friend on the couch and think, okay, now let's play for real. Because it's not just about hitting, it's about managing the team. The Complete Edition is the version that makes the most sense today, because it includes the remastered game and the original DLCs, Knives Chow and Wallace Wells. So it already comes with more characters and the most complete content package. The official pitch remains direct and irresistible. Choose characters like Scott and Ramona, level up, unlock secret items and modes, and call in powerful allies mid-brawl. For those who like replayability, it still holds modes and extras that provide longevity, like Sound Test, Boss Rush, and a mode called Survival Horror, plus subspace areas that function as bonuses for farming coins. In the end, what wins me over is that it's half Street Fighter and half growth RPG, so you always have that urge to go back, just to buy one more upgrade, and watch your character turn into a monster.
Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't get a job that pays us enough. I'm about to pop off. Fuck you, you're lost. We all know that we never really want a boss. So I'ma do what I want to. Something I can't undo. Yeah, I'ma do what I want to. Something I can't undo. I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy. Don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots.